Hello everyone, this is Jagrati Soni from MS Second Sem from Mata Jijabai Government PG College, and today I am going to give a presentation on critical appreciation or analysis of the play The Fire and the Rain, and this presentation is guided by Professor Dr. Geeta Sharma ma'am. So now let's begin it. First of all, we will study some points about origin of the play. The play was initially written in Kannada as Agni Mattu Mel, deciphered as Fire and the Rain in English. The play was originally written in Kannada, the language which Karnad chooses to write the most often. It was written in the year 1995 and was published in English in the year 1998 by Karnad himself. The play was since then staged in Kannada, Hindi, Bengali, and English in India and even abroad. It was adopted into a movie in the year 2002 named Agni Varsha, and this is a very famous movie. Now, here are some points about Girish Karnad, who is the author of the play. So Girish Karnad was born on 19th May 1938 and he died on 10th June 2019. He was an Indian actor, film director, Kannada writer and playwright by his occupation. And his genre was fiction. He has won awards like Gyanpith Award, National Film Award for the Best Feature Film, Padma Bhushan, National Film Award for Best Direction, etc. And he is the writer of this play Fire and the Rain. Now here are the points of critical appreciation or critical analysis of the play The Fire and the Rain, and we will study these points one by one on each slide. So first point is about analysis of Fire and the Rain. As we all know, the title of the play is Fire and the Rain. So first of all, we will analyze the title Fire and the Rain. The fire connotes both the negative and positive human impulses such as anger, jealousy, revenge, betrayal, and lust. The rain, on the contrary, denotes the rain of human love and sacrifice, compassion, forgiveness, revival, and regeneration. Commenting on various meanings of Agni, P. Jayalakshmi appropriately states Agni works as anger and revenge in Rabhya, Paravasu, and Yavakari. In Vishakha, it burns as lust, and in the people as hunger due to the persistent drought. Because we all know that in this play there is a situation of drought from the last 10 years. So in the people it burns like hunger due to persistent drought. Now the next slide is about analysis of caste system shown in the play. Another important point the playwright wants to focus is the perennial problem of caste system. The fire sacrifice is organized to propitiate the god of rain. Low caste people were prohibited to enter the holy areas. Priests were directed not to leave the precincts and not to talk to the Shudras and not to give themselves sensual pleasures. Here is one quote by Nithalai and Arvasu that Nithalai says, "Not until we are married, until then the girl is not supposed to touch her husband, that's our custom." Then Arvasu says, "Mother of mine, I am about to jettison means to leave my caste, my people, my whole past for you. Can't you forget a minor custom for my sake?" So here it is showing caste system in the play. And the next slide is about analysis of gender discrimination in the play. Jai Lakshmi says Nithalai and Vishakha are both victims of male control, consequent to which is oppression and exploitation inflicted upon them by the often violent heterogeneous male subjects. Nithalai seems to suffer double marginalization, as is often a lot of communities divided on lines of caste and color. She is marginalized from the mainstream as belonging to Shudra caste. In her own community, she is presented for demanding her right to take a life partner of her choice. And here also Nithalai's father said, "This daughter of mine," means Nithalai, "has made me a laughing stock in the eyes of the world. I am marrying her off to anyone who will take her." So Nitalai and Vishakha appear to be in search for identity. Both of them suffer from the problem of anonymity. Now next slide is about analysis of existentialism in the play. This is a very main slide of the PPT because existentialism exists in each part of the play. So here it is. The characters here are found in existential situation. Arvasu finds himself in existential situation when he is terribly shocked at the treachery of his brother Parvasu. The play in general presents existential themes, namely the impossibility of possession in love, the illusion of friendship and brotherhood, the isolation and alienation of men, the difficulty of communication, and the quest for identity and meaning of an uncertain and often incomprehensible world. It also highlights men's inevitable isolation and alienation in this so-called cultured world. Next slide is about analysis of knowledge in the play. The story of Yavakari is a lesson to people that knowledge should be acquired in the right manner. It is a story of modern pundits of in the intellectual society that Karnad has beautifully narrated through Yavakari in The Fire and the Rain. The prevailing evil in the main is natural vice which doesn't spare anyone. Nitalai asked Arvasu about the knowledge of the in knowledge Yavakari got, not getting of the rain, but for himself, for his due to his arrogance. So Nitalai asked Arvasu, why didn't Yavakari ask Indra for a couple of good showers? Because he could get this type of boon also from the god of rain, but he didn't. It is not caste that upholds the society, but virtue that maintains the quality of life on the earth. Next slide is about analysis of sacrifice in the play. In The Fire and the Rain, the fire sacrifice is a symbol of power and that of spiritual and intellectual peak of knowledge for Brahmins as priests. The fire sacrifice represents self-gratification, self-examination and self-purification of jealousy, envy, power, politics and supremacy of their sectarian attitude. Karnad has beautifully displayed the game of spiritual power as political activity prevailing in society as a contemporary reality, because it was a reality at that time. Brahmins are being attacked not as well-wishers of the society but as pretenders and culprits of the contemporary world. Next slide is about analysis of betrayal in the play. See, the whole play is consisting of betrayal among each other of the characters. So here it is. Indeed, these brotherhood betrayal and fratricidal violence are similar to the betrayal story of Arvasu and Parvasu. In fact, Parvasu kills his own father but imposes the act of patricide on his innocent brother Arvasu and destroys his life. There is betrayal between Yavakari and Vishakha also. So here we will find betrayal among each character of the play. Now there is analysis or appreciation of the myth of Yavakari in the play. Yavakari is the very main character of the play, around whom the whole play exists. So here it is. The myth of Yavakari is about two friends, Rabhya and Bhardwaj. Rabhya's son Parvasu and Arvasu are highly acknowledged Vedic scholars. Bhardwaj's son means Yavakari holds a grudge against the world and especially Rabhya's family because he believes that his father did not get due recognition as compared to Rabhya. He therefore goes to the forest and after 10 years of penance, Lord Indra grants Yavakari the knowledge he desires, but Yavakari becomes arrogant. He molests Rabhya's daughter-in-law to challenge Rabhya and Parvasu Rabhyas invokes the Rakshasa and the sanctified water which could save Yavakari, split on the floor, and Yavakari was killed by the Rakshasa. So it was a myth of Yavakari, all in all, that he could get the power and whatever he wants, recognition and all, but at last he was killed due to his arrogance and due to his power gaining, and his whole 10 years penance just got waste. Now the next slide is about analysis of characters in the play. Characters are well portrayed in the play. Karnad has created complex and multi-dimensional character in the Fire and the Rain. See, now we will study the characters, main characters of the play one by one on each slide, and first character and the most important character is about Yavakari, because the whole play uh, is grounded or is performed around Yavakari. Yavakari is depicted with precision, minuteness, and depth. He is learned but revengeful. He feels that his father is a highly learned sage, is humiliated by brother Rabhya and his son Parvasu. He burns with revenge. He needs knowledge for taking revenge, which is not so good. So he goes to the forest to perform austerities and penance for 10 long years. One night Indra confers knowledge to him. He misuses it for taking revenge on Rabhya and Parvasu. He fornicates Vishakha and invites Rabhya's wrath. He takes the help of supernatural agency and gets him killed. Means finally he himself gets killed due to his arrogance and due to his it means the will of him of getting too much power, which was not so good. So he got killed by the Rakshasa. Now next slide is about Rishi Rabhya. Rabhya, who is also a learned sage, pretends to be moral and spiritual. He is an adulterous hypocrite who molests his daughter-in-law, Vishakha. Day after day, in the absence of his husband, he too misuses his knowledge. So he is a sage, but he is not a kind-hearted or a very good sage. He was an hypocrite. Next slide is about Parvasu. Parvasu acts as the chief priest in the fire sacrifice. He is well versed with the Vedas and has ample knowledge of religion. He is proud of his Brahmanhood. He is intentionally mean and malicious and misuses his knowledge for the fulfillment of his selfish motives. His married life with Vishakha is arid and joyless. He intentionally kills his own father Rabhya and accuses his younger brother Arvasu for patricide. At last he is consumed in fire, which is his expiation for the crimes whatever he has committed. Means ultimately he himself gets uh, sacrifice of his own body in the fire due to his crimes. Now his next slide is about his younger brother, means Arvasu. Arvasu is a fascinating character in the Fire and the Rain. He was not like his brother and his father. He falls in love with Nithya, a tribal girl, and for the sake of her renounces even his caste. He joins the troupe of actors because he takes interest in singing and acting. The profession of acting has reserved in those days for low caste. He owns the responsibility of patricide, an abject crime which his brother Parvasu committed. The play ends with Arvasu's sacrifice. He sacrifices his own happiness with Nitya for the redemption of the Brahma Rakshas, which resolves the crisis of drought and brings rain. Means Arvasu is a very smart and a very good hearted human character in the play, because he did not think about his happiness, and finally due to him the drought the villagers got rid of the drought, and it got it there was rain in the village. Now the next slide is about Vishakha. Vishakha, a Brahman, has no individuality. She is depicted merely as a sex toy. Her husband Parvasu uses her body for making various sexual experiments. In his long absence, her father-in-law Rabhya and Yavakari fornicates her. Vishakha is a miserable woman and deserves our sympathy. Yavakari's lustful remark on the body of Vishakha was the sweet sick smell of the jackfruit. So these kinds of comments she used to get, and her character reveals how women were ill treated in the Brahminical order at that time. Now next slide is about Nithalai. Nithalai is portrayed as bold, courageous, determined and virtuous tribal girl who falls in love with Arvasu, but she had to marry to a tribal boy against her wishes. Nithalai comes to know that Arvasu's is in danger. She abandons her husband, her family and her all for her love's sake. She caresses him when he is unwell, but her love is not sensual but spiritual. In the end, her husband kills her. Actually, Nithalai was a very kind-hearted woman, and she was with deep love with the with Vasu, and she wanted to marry her, but she couldn't, and at last her husband killed her. So Nithalai was a very spiritual and a very good character in the play. Now next slide is about analysis of style and language in the play. Girish Karnad's diction is apt. His words are suggestive and reveal both character and situation. Karnad employs abusive and derogatory expressions which exhibit the malicious feelings of characters. Similes and metaphors, symbols and images are abundantly used in The Fire and the Rain, and they impart it a poetical quality. Karnad writes dialogue in precise, pointed, and lucid and idiomatic language, which is remarkable for flexibility. He uses short and precise, simple and idiomatic expressions in The Fire and the Rain as everything rolled into me, shame died in me, become a diamond unscratchable, sick of silence, etc. So, thank you for now and bye to all.